Morning friends, happy Sunday, how the heck you doing? I've got a massive run to do later and it's running in the UK, but get to the point Martin, because some joy has been spread by Masterchef Australia. The little trailers, obviously we all know this was filmed some time ago, the little trailers have started to drop on social media and the rightful queen of the UK, Meghan of course, looks absolutely fabulous. But what's even more interesting is the fact that these little snippets that are filmed while the real cameras are rolling, Meg is just so real. She's so normal. She's got this effervescent personality that just pulls people in because intrinsically she's got a really beautiful, normal human heart and people just warm to her. The little convos, the little jokes, her own cooking experiences, supporting the contestants, supporting the celebrities. It's just great TV. The real Meghan is shining through. Can't wait to stream them. Even though I'm in the UK, I'll be streaming them, seeing what's going on. My opinion's not important, as ever. Yours is. Comments are open. Tell the world what you think.
Hello friends, and yes, it is me. I am outside because I do that sometimes. I just wanted to have a quick chat about Her Royal Highness Meghan the Duchess of Sussex, because earlier this year in April of 2026 she traveled with her husband Prince Harry to Australia for business, pleasure, philanthropy, and other reasons that we really have no business trying to find out. But while they were there, Meghan appeared on a surprise visit on Masterchef Australia, and as far as we know, as reported at the time, this was an incredibly positive experience for her, the audience, the contestants, the other people who were on the judging panel, and in general, everybody had a good time, right? The episode that Meghan is supposed to appear on, however, hasn't yet aired, and as far as I'm aware, it's supposed to air tomorrow in the UK, tomorrow being Sunday the 26th of July. But here's the thing, even though the episode hasn't aired, there are already articles coming out and telling us just what a terrible appearance Meghan had on the show. I want to remind people, this is for an episode that hasn't yet aired. And not only are we hearing all of these terrible stories about how terrible she was on set and how she demanded everybody to call her Duchess and all these things that she demanded out of everybody on set, we're also hearing that she had a feud with a very specific person on the judging panel. And this person is none other than Po Ling Yo. I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But as I'm sure you've already deciphered from the name, this is a person of color. And in fact, when you look at the entire judging panel of MasterChef Australia, this woman is the only person of color, as far as we can tell, at least phenotypically, right? And she's said to have niggled Meghan because when she introduced Meghan, or when somebody else introduced Meghan onto the show, they said, we've had royalty before, but never quite like this. And this is apparently something that niggled Meghan for reasons that nobody is willing to explain, which then led to Po Ling Yo being niggled by Meghan simply because Meghan has now dragged her into a royal feud that she does not want to be in. This is, of course, as reported by the British tabloid press. And for those of you who are new to this channel, I need you to understand something about the British tabloid press. It sounds like, I'm naming TMZ, like if you're in America, it sounds like I'm naming TMZ and all of those gossip magazines. In Britain, we have a completely opposite system where the British tabloid press, like the tabloids, are the primary media, like they are the primary news givers of people, and they are telling us before even watching an episode of something with Meghan in it how the episode went. And not only how the episode went, but they've already invented a feud between Meghan and another person on the judging panel just to demonstrate to you how difficult she is. Bear in mind, they could have chosen literally anybody else on the judging panel. So why did they choose the only person of color? Yes, I am taking it there, because when you talk about Meghan, you need to understand something very, very crucial. Nothing they say about this woman is ever true, and everything is racial. And we know this is true because statements are having to be put out by the Masterchef team and everybody affiliated with them, telling us this didn't happen. These two people actually liked each other. Which then begs the question, why did we get the story of the feud? Why did we get all of these reports of Meghan being terrible on set when the opposite was true? We'll get into the racial aspect of this in another video, but now I just want to focus on why we got the story in the first place. For those of you who are new to this channel, I'm just going to briefly explain something called the Meghan effect. And what that means is that every time Meghan is pictured with like a new piece of jewelry, a piece of clothing, or her children are photographed with a new piece of clothing or anything like that item will then go on to sell out, simply because it is associated with Meghan. You can look up what she did for Le Creuset sales last year and everything else associated with Love Meghan. Here's the thing with the Meghan effect. It's a double-edged sword, meaning that it works both ways. In the same way that Meghan is able to affect sales in a positive way for things that she wears.
There are certain moments in popular culture that become much bigger than the event itself. A celebrity appears on a television show, shares a personal story, cooks a simple meal, or laughs with fellow guests, and suddenly the conversation spreads across newspapers, television panels, podcasts, YouTube channels, and every corner of social media. That is exactly what happened when Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, became the center of attention following her reported Masterchef appearance. What could have been just another television segment quickly transformed into one of the most talked about entertainment stories of the week. Supporters praised Meghan's calm, approachable personality and enjoyed seeing a different side of her. Critics questioned everything, from her presence on the program to the way the media covered it. Yet despite the divided reactions, one thing became impossible to ignore. Everyone was talking about Meghan. And perhaps that says more about today's media landscape than it does about Meghan herself. Because whether people admired her appearance or criticized it, they were all contributing to the same outcome. They were making sure that her name stayed at the center of public conversation. That's something that has happened repeatedly over the past several years. Meghan has become one of those public figures who can spark headlines simply by showing up. She doesn't have to make a political statement. She doesn't have to announce a new project. Sometimes all it takes is appearing on television, attending an event, or releasing a photograph for the internet to explode with opinions. Her supporters argue that this demonstrates genuine star power. Critics argue that she attracts controversy, but regardless of which side someone falls on, the attention itself is undeniable. The reported Masterchef appearance became another example of that phenomenon. Many viewers simply saw someone enjoying food, conversation, and entertainment. They appreciated the relaxed atmosphere and thought it was refreshing to see Meghan participating in something that felt less formal and more relatable. Cooking shows have always had a unique ability to connect with audiences. Food brings people together. It creates conversations about family traditions, culture, memories, and everyday life. For celebrities, appearing in that environment often allows audiences to see a side of them that doesn't emerge during interviews or official appearances. Supporters felt that this was exactly what happened. Rather than focusing on controversy, they saw someone smiling, engaging naturally with those around her, and participating in a format that millions of viewers already enjoy. But as quickly as positive reactions appeared online, criticism followed. Some commentators questioned why Meghan continued to receive opportunities from major broadcasters. Others debated whether she should still be referred to by her royal title. Television discussions began analyzing every detail, while opinion pieces appeared almost immediately, offering dramatically different interpretations of the same appearance. For many observers, the intensity of the reaction seemed disproportionate. After all, this was a cooking show, yet the debate became far bigger than food. Supporters pointed out something they have argued for years. Meghan often becomes the subject of discussions that would never happen for many other celebrities appearing in similar circumstances. Every smile gets analyzed. Every outfit becomes a headline. Every interview generates countless opinion articles. Every television appearance sparks debates that stretch on for days. Whether people view that as unfair scrutiny or simply the reality of modern celebrity depends on perspective, but there is little disagreement that the level of attention surrounding Meghan remains extraordinary. One of the most interesting aspects of the conversation was how supporters viewed the criticism itself. Across social media, many argue that those trying hardest to criticize Meghan were also ensuring that more people heard about her appearance. Every critical headline encouraged additional curiosity. Every debate prompted more viewers to search for clips. Every opinion article reminded audiences that Meghan was once again making headlines. In other words, even negative attention kept expanding the conversation. Media experts have often observed that in today's digital environment, attention has become one of the most valuable forms of currency. Algorithms reward engagement. Trending topics receive more visibility. Content that sparks discussion often spreads faster than content everyone agrees on. That doesn't necessarily mean controversy is planned or desirable, but it does explain why some stories continue dominating headlines long after the original event has ended. The reported Masterchef appearance seemed to fit perfectly into that pattern.
As clips circulated online, supporters highlighted moments they believed showed Meghan appearing relaxed, confident, and comfortable. Many said she looked genuinely happy. Others appreciated seeing her in an environment that focused on lifestyle and entertainment rather than royal speculation. To them, this represented another step in building an independent public identity beyond the institution she left alongside Prince Harry. That point has remained central to many discussions about the Sussexes over recent years. Since stepping back from official royal duties, Harry and Meghan have explored numerous projects across entertainment, media, philanthropy, and business. Some have been warmly received, others have generated criticism. But throughout that journey, they have consistently remained among the world's most discussed public figures. Their ability to command attention has rarely disappeared. For supporters, that's evidence that they continue to resonate with audiences internationally. Another argument frequently made online centered on the willingness of major broadcasters and production companies to work with Meghan. Supporters suggested that large networks carefully evaluate audience interest before investing in programming. If executives continue inviting someone onto popular shows, they argued, it likely reflects confidence that viewers will tune in. Television has always been competitive. Networks seek personalities capable of attracting audiences. From that perspective, Meghan's continued visibility may reflect her ongoing public appeal rather than simply media fascination. Of course, critics interpret the situation differently. Some argue that coverage surrounding Meghan becomes excessive. Others believe public interest is driven more by controversy than admiration. Those differing viewpoints help explain why conversations surrounding her rarely remain calm for very long. Yet regardless of perspective, there is one outcome both sides unintentionally contribute to. They keep the story alive. Supporters celebrate, critics respond, commentators analyze, social media reacts, news organizations publish follow-up articles. Before long, a single television appearance evolves into a week-long national discussion. That cycle has become increasingly familiar. Another interesting aspect involves how public expectations seem to shift. Some supporters argue that Meghan often faces changing standards. When she remains private, critics ask why she isn't more visible. When she participates in public projects, critics ask why she's seeking attention. When she speaks, some say she talks too much. When she stays quiet, others speculate endlessly about what her silence means. Whether or not someone agrees with that assessment, it illustrates why discussions surrounding Meghan often extend beyond the original event itself. The conversation becomes about larger questions concerning celebrity, media, identity, and public perception. In that sense, the Masterchef appearance became symbolic of something bigger. It wasn't simply about cooking. It became another chapter in an ongoing story about how modern media operates. One positive takeaway noted by supporters was Meghan's apparent ability to remain focused despite constant public commentary. Rather than responding to every headline or every online debate, she has often allowed her projects to speak for themselves. Many supporters admire that approach. They see consistency rather than confrontation. Instead of becoming involved in every criticism, they believe she continues pursuing opportunities that align with her personal and professional goals. That strategy resonates with many people who feel that public figures cannot realistically answer every negative comment directed toward them. Sometimes continuing with one's work becomes the strongest response. Whether discussing charitable initiatives, media productions, lifestyle ventures, or television appearances, supporters believe Meghan has demonstrated a determination to keep moving forward despite intense scrutiny. Another fascinating element is how global the conversation has become. Reactions came not only from Britain, but also from viewers across North America, Europe, Australia, Africa, and beyond. Few public figures generate such widespread international interest. Different countries often interpret Meghan through different cultural lenses. Some focus on celebrity, others emphasize the royal connection. Others discuss broader issues involving race, gender, media representation, or institutional change. That diversity of perspectives helps explain why nearly every appearance generates extensive international coverage. The reported Masterchef appearance proved no exception. Supporters also highlighted something refreshingly simple. Sometimes audiences just enjoy seeing celebrities doing ordinary things, cooking, laughing, sharing recipes, talking about favorite foods. These moments can humanize people who are often viewed through the lens of controversy or headlines. For many viewers, that everyday quality was precisely what made the appearance enjoyable. Rather than another dramatic interview or major announcement, it offered something lighter, something more personal, something familiar. In an era where public conversations frequently become polarized, moments centered around everyday experiences can feel surprisingly refreshing.
At the same time, the debate demonstrated just how powerful media narratives remain. The same television appearance inspired dramatically different headlines depending on the publication covering it. Some emphasized warmth and relatability, others focused on criticism and controversy. This contrast reminds audiences to look beyond headlines and consider multiple perspectives before forming conclusions. Media literacy has become increasingly important in today's information environment. Understanding that different outlets may frame identical events differently helps viewers navigate complex public discussions more thoughtfully. Ultimately, the reported Masterchef appearance became far more than entertainment. It became another example of how celebrity, media, public opinion, and digital culture intersect. Supporters viewed Meghan's appearance as evidence of her continued relevance and appeal. Critics questioned aspects of the coverage and her public profile. Yet beneath all the debate lies a simple reality. People cared enough to watch, comment, share, and discuss. In today's crowded media landscape, maintaining that level of attention is no small achievement. Whether someone is a longtime supporter, a skeptical observer, or simply curious about the conversation, Meghan continues to occupy a unique place in global popular culture. Her projects continue to generate discussion, her appearances continue to make headlines, and every new chapter seems to reignite debates about celebrity, media, and public perception. Perhaps that is the biggest lesson from this latest moment. The conversation surrounding Meghan extends far beyond any single television appearance. It reflects the evolving relationship between public figures, traditional media, digital platforms, and audiences around the world. For supporters, the Masterchef appearance represented another confident, relatable moment in Meghan's post-royal journey, one that showcased her in a relaxed setting while reminding audiences why she remains such a compelling public figure. For critics, it offered another opportunity to question her public role. Either way, the discussion itself underscored an undeniable fact. Meghan remains one of the most talked about personalities in modern media, and even an appearance centered on food can become a global conversation that stretches well beyond the kitchen.